welcome back to Sports and Ish with Misty V and Rachael Leigh. We have a lot going on in the sports world right now that we want to talk about. So please like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of. We are going to be talking about the Tom Brady and Giselle news that we'll take a deeper dive into. The NBA season starting up, which we're super pumped. Misty, a big Celtics fan, so I know you're really excited. And, you know, the Draymond Green punching out his teammate. Like, what is going on, Misty? What the heck? So much to talk about.
First of all, have you seen that video? Rachael, did you see? All right, so to be fair, I've had this conversation with many of the professional athletes in my office, and I'm like, listen, I realized that somebody on the staff leaked this video, this Draymond Green video to TMZ or whoever reported it first, but legitimately.
Well, they got some money for it too.
They got some serious, they got paid. But my question was, does this legitimately happen and nobody reports it? Is this the norm? They were like, well, it was a little more violent than maybe what happens, even in college practices, there could be some shove-offs or whatever. But the Draymond Green punching incident against Jordan Poole was kind of a violent situation. I don't know who released it. And of course, I think Steve Kerr was quoted today as saying, listen, this is one of the worst things that's happened for us as a team. And we're trying to figure out how to deal with it. But it's how do you deal with this? And then on one hand, you know me, I'm a Celtics fan. And I watched Draymond Green play against my favorite guys in the finals. And I hated seeing him push him off the sidelines when there was a free throw or whatever. I'm I hate that guy. But then one of my athletes reminded me, listen, if he was playing for the Celtics, would you hate him? If he played for the Celtics,
that's a great question. How would you feel about that?
I mean, if he had the defensive stuff that he has for the Warriors and he was using that for the Celtics, would you still hate him? I really had to think about that. Can you really hate Draymond Green? Let's talk about that. Can you hate the guy? Rachael, what do you think?
I don't know how you do that to a teammate. You know, you and I talk about how the chemistry is with whatever sport that you're playing. Yeah. And I just think you got to respect your teammates no matter what trash talk is going on, no matter what happens behind the scene. You have to be respectful. And I think that kind of crosses the line for me where, if you are on my favorite sports team, that's a no-no. You can't do that. That's just my opinion. I'm all about self-respect, and I totally get, players not being friends with each other or whatever, but your teammates, you gotta put that stuff aside during practice, during games, whatever, and just do your thing and focus on you. And I think that's the tough part. How do you get to that point? What makes you want to do that to a teammate where just stay in your lane? They're doing whatever, just focus on your game, do what you got to do. And that's it in my mind, but I know it's easier said than done.
I think it's easy for someone like us to sit on the sidelines and say, well, we're not a part of that team. We've not played in those professional sports lines, but then again, I have worked in professional sports for 7+ years. And here's where I see that line falling. Is this considered a cancerous situation? Is this something where this leads to a cancer? Because ultimately, even if you are frustrated and not happy with your teammates, creating the next step, if you will, in terms of hatred or anger toward that person and with each other, now you're creating a circle of things that may not be able to, create a successful season. And we know the Warriors have had many successful seasons. So I think that just seeing that little bit of that cancer kind of started or created, even between two teammates, can be the end all be all. So I guess the only thing that remains to be seen is how will this affect their season going forward. The regular season starts this week. So I guess we have to see how it plays out. I think they basically said his actual punishment was just being fined. He's not been
left out of crazy to me.
Right. He's not been left out of any games. He's not been left out of any practices. He still gets to show up to the facility, lift with the guys, be part of the team. He's just been fined at this point. He is still there. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. And maybe he and Jordan will like find a way to resolve the situation. Again,
Do you really think so? Do you really?
I don't know.
Just
Like
you and I. Yeah, we talk about, I mean, we've seen teams, and when you have that toxic environment, it affects your whole season. And that can make it from going to the playoffs to not just having that awful chemistry that, like, you need that. We saw that with great teams, that chemistry that you have. As soon as you have that toxic environment, boom, it's done.
Right. It's a cancer, you know, and working with even the Bengals players, as long as I have, you could see the environment change out year after year. You could see some of the veterans go. You could see the rookies come in. And you could see a little bit more of a fresher attitude, better adjustments toward the newer coach. But you could see some of that older behavior kind of leaving. And I've seen it time and time again with teams. It's the environment, it's the atmosphere, and it's what's created. And I have to say, for the first time, even last year with a lot of the guys, you could see the refreshing attitude toward each other. Nobody was coming in and saying, oh, I'm so angry at so-and-so. Nobody was coming in angry at anybody. So I truly feel that the way that you feel about your teammates predicts the way that your season's going to go. It truly does.
Yeah, I agree. Chemistry is huge.
So on that topic, I mean, again, you cheer for the Bengals. Like, what is the chemistry like with you guys? Is it pretty tight? Do you guys just really stay in tune? Are you with each other a lot? Like,
oh my gosh. No, it's so crazy. Well, and I will say it was kind of hard last season because of COVID. So like I've been on the team for 5 seasons, and the best times are we're with each other so much when it comes to practicing.
Yeah.
But when we also spend time doing fun things outside of practice,
that helps.
Could be going to dinner, or like it's fall time doing some fall activities, or going even to a Bengals away game since we don't travel with the teams typically. It just creates that environment where you become friends, and then you're dancing next to each other and you're hyping each other up and you're helping each other out. And it's the same thing with any sport. It's the same way. You're with each other so much that you're not best friends with every single person, but you respect each other and you grow to have that deeper friendship, which is really awesome and creates that positive, fun environment that you want to work hard in, that you want to be there, you know, for practices and games. And it's totally a different energy when you want to be there than when you have to be there.
So what you said, though, was a key point, the respect. It's the respect that you have for each other. And when you see the video of Draymond clearly violently punching his teammate, I felt like that was a clear adjective of zero respect.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, again, I'm not a coach, but if I was Steve Kerr, I would think maybe we need to address the respect issue on the team.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're angry and that helps you be the best defensive player, well, then that's great. But again, you still have to build this atmosphere that leads to another season of success. Like, will we see the Warriors have a season of success? That's the question. That's the question.
And then you wonder too, like, should there, like you said, should there be something that's done that shows this is not acceptable?
Right.
Like, this is not what should happen on this team.
Right.
You need to respect your teammates no matter what.
Right.
You need to take that home, do whatever you need to do, take it home, do anything to calm you down. I don't know, you know, their relationship, or maybe there's extra stuff behind the scenes that happens, but
or make an example out of him. Like, show the team, show the NBA. Like, I don't care if you're like how Dennis Rodman was back in the day. You cannot be that guy. You cannot be the guy on the team that just freely punches somebody aggravated in a practice. And again, we don't know how often this happens. We don't know because, again, from professional athletes that I work with, I've heard that this can easily happen. It's just that someone happened to leak a video out to TMZ. So that actually brings me to my next point. So now that the Celtics are starting the season without Ime Udoka, which, again, huge Celtics fan, it's been a heartbreaking situation for me.
So crazy.
Crazy. Ime Udoka, great coach. He had a great first season with the Celtics as a head coach, his first year as a head coach. He's been an assistant coach before, and the guy also played professionally. So you hear the situation again of this man being pulled out on the rug for having this extramarital affair against his woman, Mia Long. So you have a situation, and you also have apparently a staff member of the Celtics. And again, having worked in professional sports as long as I have, I'm just going to say it. He is not the first staff member to do
really? Are you sure about that?
Read the headlines. And I honestly, my frustration lied here. No, it's not right. And no, it's not okay. Sure. And I'm certainly not condoning it. But it's like, to pull that guy out on the rug and use him as an example, either somebody inside the Celtics organization was extremely upset, again, staff member, but it was consensual, or are they making an example of this guy, saying, oh, let's use your conduct, your code of conduct contract on this. But let's be fair. Again, if you've ever traveled and worked with a professional sports team, you already know this happens all the time.
Which is sad. It's so sad that it is a norm, I feel like. And sad. You hear things, I hear things, like it's unfortunately part of the industry for some reason, some way. It's acceptable in society now, which is beyond me. Because like you said, I don't agree with what has happened.
No.
But you're like, do we take it that far as it has been? So yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely going to affect. I mean, you go off of a great season last year, and now this happens right now. Right. So
it was, and again, being a Celtics fan, it's upsetting to me to see the head coach that pulled off a great first season as a head coach being pulled out on the rug for the activity that we all know very well. So many coaches and every professional sports industry has been a part of. And I don't care who you are. I might get hated for this. But again, you're talking to somebody who has traveled, who has seen a lot of things. And I'm telling you right now, Ime Udoka was not the first. And I guarantee not the first on the Celtics organization.
Right. Not the first, but you're like, dude, you have everything. What are you doing? Like, why waste that on something so silly and so stupid?
They do. They have everything. But then, according to the media reports, this situation was consensual with a staff member. And it went on for a long time. This was not a man who was sexually harassing women and saying foul things, at the office. This was a gentleman who was having what appears. Again, we don't have facts. This is hearsay.
But this is all true right here, right now. No, I'm just saying.
We have the facts. But this is what appears to have been a full-blown love affair, like a love affair. So regardless, staff member or not, these coaches sign a code of conduct, contract saying we will behave in a manner that only reflects the team in such and such way, and the organization. We only want to show the best side of that team. And obviously behaving in that manner does not show the best side of that team. But again, we're talking about an organization that this is not the first. And the fact that they pulled Ime Udoka out on the rug for this, something deeper was going on there. We have yet to see what that is. We'll have to wait for the reports. There'll be so many more, I guarantee it. Like, when this actually comes out into a full fold, we're going to see what really took place behind doors. But in the meantime, being the Celtics fan that I am, and Al Horford, we shall see what rolls out for everybody. Again, I mean, we're starting. This is the week, regular season.
So what do you think? What do you think should have been done? Being a Celtics fan, I'm curious your thoughts on that.
I think this should have been kept under like a quiet rug, if you will. I think they should have handled it a little bit more quietly, considering it involved an actual staff member of the Celtics. I think it should have been quiet. If they wanted to fine him, suspend him for a year, I guess just keep it quiet. Like, they pulled this guy out on the rug, and actually the reason why was leaked. And I just feel like if you want this person to keep it classy, as an organization, you should also keep it classy. You should not have leaked what the actual information was. And again, I'm certain they are keeping.
Yeah, do you think they did? I mean, you know how it is. Everything gets leaked. So
eventually,
I think part of it too is, hey, somebody's going to leak it. We need to take responsibility and we need to put this out there
before they find out that we knew before it came out. Like we need to let everybody know that we knew. And the old saying is true. What happens in the dark eventually comes to light. Like that is a true saying, and I get it. But it's like, again, we're talking about professional sports. We're talking about people that are traveling on the road for months and weeks at a time together without their spouses, their loved ones, whoever. And as someone who traveled with the team, I can tell you it is so easy. Like you just said, you're being out cheerleader friends. It is so easy once the season becomes so long and once you spend so much time together to become that family. In fact, I remember traveling with the soccer team, and it was just that for me. Like we traveled for 4.5 weeks for preseason. And, our season was mid-January through the first week of November. So we're talking most of the year with these people and not your family. So it's easy to spend that kind of time on the road, that kind of time at the games, practices day in, day out. You see these people more than you see your family. And I think Greg Garza even touched upon this in episode 3. These are the people that you're spending more time with than your family. And I think it's natural to grow certain relationships with those people because whether it's a deep friendship, whether you feel like they're closer to you than maybe even your family, because again, you are on the road with these people nonstop. They know your life better than your family. In fact, I remember coming home for like a week and a half and we weren't traveling. And I can just remember missing everything that was the team. Like this, you almost feel like there's a hole in your heart because you're not doing that for a week and a half. Like this has become your life for so long. So I can almost empathize with how those situations may get started because of the travel time, because of the long season. Let's face it, NBA is a long season. There's a lot of games involved with that. There's so many games. So I can empathize with how those situations began, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's okay. Please,
I'm going to disagree with you.
That's what we got to do.
Agree. No. I agree that you're with these people, you create relationships, boom. But I think when you have to respect yourself and the relationships that you're in and be true to yourself. So for me, in that situation, lines don't get crossed. Because you know that they're family. So you have to kind of separate that and you have to be able to step away when you need to step away. Now, I get what you're saying. Like that's maybe a normal, which I hate to say, thing in the industry. And I think, unfortunately, you and I have many conversations that the world today that we live in is very different.
So very different.
And relationships, marriage, things like that are not as they used to be, I feel like. So I think it's very important that people know those boundaries, and when you have to walk away, you walk away. But I get it. I get that relationships happen. You spend time with people, whatever the case may be, but that whole situation makes me mad. I hate that it's a norm that we call it, but
I know.
It throws off the whole season. That's for sure.
It does. And unfortunately, we're going to hope that it doesn't take away from the Celtics. Again, huge Celtics fan. I have been most of my life. So we're going to hope that this doesn't take away from their season or any other coaches, because again, I'm sure that when Ime Udoka got pulled out on the carpet for this, I'm sure that there were coaches. I don't care if you were MLS, and I don't care if you were NBA or NFL or NHL. I'm sure that there were coaches worldwide going, wait a minute, could this have been me? Could this have been me?
I need to reevaluate.
Am I going to get pulled out on the carpet? Could this have been my name in the media? So let that be a lesson to all. If someone wants to make an example out of you or whatever reason, it could have been you. It could have been you.
Yeah. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the point. So time will tell. We'll see what happens.
Which actually, ironically, brings me to my next point. So I was actually audio messaging you this last night. I was actually reaching out to so many of my guys, and I felt frustrated just for a little bit. I've actually calmed down a little bit today, but last night I was a little bit mad because I have so many colleagues, obviously, across the United States. I consider myself very, very blessed to be well connected with so many professionals and so many different types of sports.
Because you're amazing. Let me just say that. Okay.
Oh, thank you. But I consider myself so blessed to know so many, whether it's NBA, whether it's football, whether it's anything, soccer. So when I felt this frustration rise, I reached out to you. I reached out to several of the male athletes that I work with. And I'm just like, listen, it's frustrating to know that I have male colleagues in the industry and they may not do the exact same job that I do, but I'm just going to say this as a female and one of the leaders in the industry, and you can work with so many athletes, you can be contracted by so many teams, but what frustrates me is that again, mostly male athletes is mostly what I work with. And those male athletes don't really call you out too often. Like, hey, she's the GOAT, she's this, she's that. They refer everybody to you, which is good enough, which is good enough in my opinion. If you can refer all these people to me and even out of town teams because you went to college with them, that's great. That's a huge compliment. But here's where my frustration rolls in. A colleague of mine recently started a podcast, episode 1. And I'm reading the comments and I see all of these guys just like, oh, congrats. Like, you're the GOAT, you're this, you're that, you're amazing. And I'm just like, yeah. Okay. I've done more than him. and not that you should ever have to say, hey, bam, bam, I've done so much more. Again, the old quote goes, if you have to tell everybody you're the king, you're not the king. So you never want to be that person who's like, bam, 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 I've done all this. But it was just frustrating to realize that as a female, male athletes rarely call you out. They don't want to share you. They don't want to say, hey, with this person getting physio work or tissue mobilization. As a female, they don't say that. But if you're a male doing that job, they shout you out all day long. With the GOAT, with this, get that, getting that, getting this, then getting that, then, because it's a guy. It's a safer bet. It's a safer bet to put that person on social media and call him out and say, he's the best, he's this, I'm so glad he's here. And as a female, you don't get that. But I will say, thanks to the conversations I had with my male athletes today and last night, somebody actually did pull out an amazing trainer. She's in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to get to know her better. But she's like me. She's short. She's this crazy, badass trainer. She's so well respected in the NFL and MLB world. And in fact, she's this woman like me, and then she's got the staff of all male coaches.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm.
She's on top of her game, and athletes are like shouting her out nonstop. I'm like, there's proof that it happens. I want to be like her. She is goals. And it may not happen overnight. I get it. I've had to have so many other professionals that work with my male athletes say, hey, I was invited to this party. I got flown out for this, and I got to do this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen for me. I'm a female. I get it. To invite a female to this.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things with that. I think, to your point right there, when there are other people involved, it's hard to see a beautiful woman that is good at what she does and is, helping in some way because of, again, what I mentioned earlier, just the world that we live in now and the stories you hear and just lines being crossed and things like that. And it's really hard when you are amazing at what you do and you can't be taken as seriously because of those factors that are kind of blocking you, which is really, really unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that has to be some sort of issue. And I feel like that's probably the way for women too, working in, a male industry, and you come home and your boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever, you kind of have to walk on eggshells sometimes, some relationships, because again, of the world that we live in. So I think that plays into it. And I also think it's like a bro world, a boys world, where it's like, oh, you can go here, you can go there. And it's really unfortunate with things that come out where guys are afraid. And I've had, being in the finance world, wealth management, very male dominated.
Right. Yes.
And there are groups that when I first joined, it was all male team, and they wanted it that way because they could joke around, they could make inappropriate jokes, and it'd be completely fine because I'm talking to my bro. He doesn't care. We can swear. We can talk about silly stuff. It doesn't matter. But then you hear about all these, lawsuits and things coming out where they're afraid to get in trouble because, oh, there's a woman there and she's going to get offended. And it's really hard because we want to be included. We want to be part of it. And I think there now are boundaries that prevent that from happening. So
I feel like, again, as a professional and as a business owner, you think it's a rite of passage. Like once you pass a certain goal that you had or whatever it was, you feel like you want to be invited into the guys club eventually because you're like, well, I worked here, I did this, I checked all the boxes. Why am I still not in the guys club? But again, I have hope because today I found out that there is in fact one woman who actually has passed the mark. She's in the guys club, and I really want to reach out to her. Hopefully, maybe down the road she'll be a guest. We'll see. But she's passed it all. In fact, my favorite motivational speaker even follows her. So I'm just like, she's got to know her stuff because all the people that I respect the most are following her. So I got to see. Mm-hmm. I got to see how she checked those boxes and got moved into that world because ultimately that's the goal.
There is a way. There is a way. It's just figuring it out.
Figuring it out, right? What are the boxes we got to check?
Yeah. And you run into those situations, and you can't force things. You can't push things further. You just got to be true to yourself. You got to do what's best for you and keep working hard. And maybe we end up working harder than the person next to us, but hey, we want to get there. We have that drive.
That's right.
And that's what you do.
That's right.
Yeah. It's crazy, but it kind of shapes you into who you are, all the struggles, all the things that you have to deal with. Whether it's those barriers or whatever comes your way that you don't necessarily expect to happen, it definitely shapes you into who you are, which is the main thing.
It is. It's the boomerang effect. I feel like once you come up against all that adversity, you just boomerang, bring back something stronger on your way back through, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you could sit here and you could say, I'm not going to get there because of X, Y, Z. And you could just beat yourself down over and over again. Or you can say, that's fine. That's something that I want to still achieve. And that's not in my way. I'm going to keep chugging along. And it's just kind of how much you want it, where you're at, and that drive that you have and that mentality that you have, which you need to be strong to get to where you want to be. So
for sure. So rolling into the next point, because I had so many points you and I talked about that we wanted to hit upon. Again, we're making this Sunday's episode. I'm so excited. Let me get your thoughts on the Giselle and Tom possible divorce proceedings. We all have feelings about that too. Right? This is kind of a big thing. When you see the GOAT himself, a 45-year-old man with an amazing wife, coming back out of retirement, and now all of a sudden this is happening. What's going on? What's going on? What are we doing?
This is so crazy. And my mind is just spinning a little bit. I'm trying not to get too deep into it, but I'm definitely thinking about it. And so my thought at first when it came out was there's two situations. One, did he come out of retirement because he loves the game and misses it? We see that with so many athletes that you don't want to give it up. You just don't. Even myself, I've been cheering for 5 seasons, but I keep coming back.
Right.
Yeah, I left for 1 season, came back. I've done that twice. So I totally understand. So it's is that what happened? Or my other thought was, did he go back? And then Giselle was like, nah, I'm having, I'm not dealing with you going back. Or did that all spark and things were going wrong? So he's like, I need that escape for me because it's not good at home, to where I'm going to keep playing, and then boom, I kind of go back. I think I know which one I'm leaning more towards, but I'm like, I could see it both ways. I don't know.
I see him being, and again, these are all opinion based. We have zero facts. But this is, you look at the Michael Jordan effect. You look at a man who has won so many championships, and the same thing with Tom Brady. This man has won so many rings, so many championships. So you think to yourself, was he angry? Was he angry that his last quote unquote season was a losing season? And maybe he was like Michael Jordan. He wanted to end his last year as a winner, like a championship. Was he upset that didn't happen? Last year, that wasn't it for them. Was he thinking like, I can't retire like this? Again, Michael Jordan got to retire a winner. Was this the Michael Jordan effect, where you think to yourself, I wanted to retire a winner? We had a losing season. I'm going to take one more season and see if I can do this and retire a winner. Which it's not looking good so far. We'll see. But it's like, did he have that again? That mentality, like, I can't retire this way. We had a losing season.
I get that.
I had all this going. I can't do it. Like, I have a thing I have to hold up to. And then his wife eventually was like, listen, you promised retirement. You promised all these things. We've waited for you. We've been a part of your life. We've given you all these things. And now you're going back. We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you. We were here to cheer you on. We were here for your career. We were here for all of it. And now you're going back. So you have to wonder if any of that played a part, where she was like, I am so done with this life. Like, and Giselle, she's worth a lot herself. Like, let's not kid ourselves. We know who Giselle is. She's phenomenally gorgeous. She's had an amazing career herself. She's got her own net worth. Like, where does that line get drawn? You know what I mean?
Well, and you wonder, like, at that point too, they are so amazing on their own, as far as, like you said, their net worth, their careers, all of that stuff. There's gotta be more than just that. Like, there's gotta be more behind the scenes, obviously, that we don't know about, because that could be the cherry on top, but there's gotta be more. But I do get what you're saying by ending the season on a positive note and having that win. I get it, but at the same time, I'm very family oriented, and I'm like, bro, you're giving up your family for your career.
For what? Right.
I think the struggle, and I feel like a lot of athletes can probably think about this, is what we talked about earlier. Yeah. You're going on trips and you're here and there and you're with the staff, and that becomes your identity. Right. That role. And so I really,
And for how many years? Like, this was his entire adult life, essentially. It was his young adult life and entire adult life. Like, this is what he's known.
So how do you step away from that? Is the question. And maybe he did it in a way, obviously, that wasn't the best for his family. Maybe he could step away in a different way and still be involved in the sport that he loves so much. That's part of him, but not taking up so much time away from his family. And that's what you wonder, like, what can he do? Well, now he can't. Now he has to finish out the season. Well, I mean, he's Tom Brady. He can do whatever he wants. But I don't know. It's just, you don't know. We don't know the ins and outs.
We don't.
But it's like, bro, you're giving up Giselle, your family. What are you doing?
Right. And obviously,
easier said than done.
I've seen all the memes. Some of them are pretty funny. I'm the meme queen, so I'm like, that's great. That's great.
Wait, but the best part, so that Adam Levine stuff came out too. The best part was Tom Brady's stuff came out first, obviously. And then Adam Levine came out. And I think the best meme that I saw was like Tom Brady thanking Adam Levine for taking the hot seat.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
There were so many great Adam Levine memes out there this morning. Because, you know, he was like DMing some chicks, several chicks on Instagram. He was like, that body though. So they would have like Adam Levine's face like DMing a cow, like that body though.
Shut up. No way.
DMing a chicken on the fucking ranch, like that body though. It was like, this guy is like famous for like DMs for like the next 3 months. He is DM gold, like literally. He gave Tom Brady such an easy out on the situation. It was like, Tom Brady who? We're talking about Adam Levine because these
literally
are fire. These things are fire. My last bit of news for today, since we're all in the fresh stuff today, Blink 182 announced.
I know. So fun.
I know. Like Tom DeLonge back with Blink 182. Guys, Generation X here. So, you know, I was already like loading up, getting excited, like firing that out to all my Gen X friends. Like, we are so going to we're going to a Blink 182 concert with the original members, Tom DeLonge included. So I think, despite of what's going on with Tom and what's going on with
you got some exciting news.
Draymond Green, you don't get to steal the spotlight from Blink 182. Just saying.
Okay, what's your favorite Blink 182 song? Do you know?
Ooh,
I don't know. I'm literally like,
I've got
which one's my fave?
What's My Age Again? Because that was just such
that's a classic. Classic.
What's My Age Again? And then I think Adam's song, because that one is so depressing. It's teenage depression. It's about a kid who, we're totally taking this down a notch, but Adam's song is about
stop that.
it's about a kid that wanted to take his own life, and he's basically saying, "Mom, don't blame yourself. When you go into my room, don't feel sad." Like when I listen to Adam's song, I'm like, I almost can't stand to listen to it, but it was like such a 90s alternative rock thing. Like that was the thing. And it's like, man, this is Blink 182.
I know. And I'm looking at the songs now. All the Small Things is another one. What's My Age Again, I think, is like a classic.
That's a classic. That's the ultimate. And they're not coming to Cincinnati. So now I have to decide, like, do I want to see them in Tampa?
Yeah, let's see
them in Nashville, right? Nashville, Tampa. Where should we go see Blink 182? This is huge. Huge. Forget Tom Brady. Blink 182 just took the news.
I don't need to go to Tampa for Tom Brady. We can.
We're just going to go for Blink 182. Adam Levine, you can take a seat. Blink 182 just upstaged you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love that. No, it'll be cool.
Wins the week. Here's my hair again. We're back.
I think who else came? Didn't Backstreet Boys come here too to Cincinnati? Weren't they? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they did.
Did I miss another 90s backbeat situation?
I think they did, and I swear to God, I have practice. I swear every time something. Okay, okay. People probably that are listening do not like this person, but like. Okay, so when I grew up, I liked Dream Street, which is like whatever. Some people.
I remember.
No, okay. So I had the biggest crush on some of the guys on Dream Street. They were like my high school crushes or whatever. Nice. And one of them was Justin McCartney, and he came, and I was like, "Oh my God, I need to go see him." And it was a practice night, so I could not miss.
No,
it's not my favorite, but I had a little crush on him when I was younger.
All right. Quick fangirl story for me. So again, I'm a little bit older, a little bit more of a different generation, but I
still like that music though, just saying.
Yeah, yes, it's good music. So I grew up liking hair metal bands because again, that's my generation. So hair metal was all the rage in junior high and high school for me, primarily junior high, but huge Def Leppard fan, right?
Yeah.
Crushed on the lead singer I had growing up. Right. I cannot, again, we're going to need people to comment on this because
Let us know who you guys like.
Yes.
We need to hear about this. Are we in the right area or not?
Right. You're about to love this next story. So I had an actual waterbed.
Hey, so no, don't laugh. I know those. Trust me.
Picture it. We're talking about the 90s. I have a waterbed in my room.
I've seen one of them.
Oh my God.
That was such a thing.
It was such a thing. I had a heated waterbed and I had hair metal posters. I'm talking Guns N' Roses. I'm talking Def Leppard. I'm talking so many hair metal bands. That was my thing. Skid Row, you name it. Like, that's what I did. But I had the biggest crush on the lead singer of Def Leppard, Joe Elliott. So I want to fast forward all these years. I'm going after my broadcasting degree, and our teacher gives us this assignment. He says, listen, dream big. I want you guys to go out and get a really great interview. And, you know, and they're talking about local people. And I'm like thinking way above local, like, I want to interview Def Leppard. So being the dreamer, you know me now. I don't stop at the answer no. So I'm like, I'm gonna find a way to make this happen, because I will always find a way to make whatever I want happen. So I'm like, okay, I look up quickly. They are touring. They are touring with Bryan Adams. They are doing minor league ball fields. They're going to be playing at the Dayton Dragons ball field with Bryan Adams. And this concert is already sold out. So I'm like, all right, I gotta find a way. I'm gonna reach out to who's ever promoting this tour, right? So I reach out to a gentleman named Don Sullivan at Jam Productions in Chicago, which, by the way, Don, if you're watching this, because you and I still talk, thank you. Best day ever. I reached out to Don Sullivan, who has no idea who I am. I'm living in Hicktown, USA. I'm a broadcasting student. I'm like, hey, I leave a voicemail. My name's Misty. I want to interview Def Leppard and or Bryan Adams. I have this radio project coming up. Talk to me, whatever. Leave my number. I'm thinking, I will never hear from this guy again. This guy is over Green Day's tour, which is sold out. He's just Mr. Everything.
I feel like I'm a nobody, so I'm not.
Nobody.
But why not try, right?
Right. Don Sullivan was a talent buyer for Jam Productions back in the day. He was receiving multiple awards for it. So here I am like, I'm going to call Don Sullivan. Who doesn't give a shit who I am, but I'm going to call him. So I call him, leave this voicemail, and I kid you not, he called me back the next day.
That's awesome.
I get a call from Don Sullivan. He's like, you know what? Listen, I hear you. I'm there with you. I'm going to say Bryan Adams. The Bryan Adams camp will probably say no, but I'm going to lean on the Def Leppard camp will probably tell you yes. So do me a favor. Between now and the next 2 weeks before they get here, send me a line of questions that you would actually like to ask them, and I'll get it approved by the Def Leppard camp. I'm like, what? Yes, let's go. So I come up with my line of questioning. I work with my teacher on it. We send it out. Don's like, yeah, this looks simple enough. I'll send it out. Hadn't heard a thing. It's 3 days before they arrive in Dayton.
You're like, this is not going to go down.
I'm sweating bullets. Like, is my dream come true going to happen? Am I going to actually interview the artist of my dream? So I get an email back from Don. Hey, Misty, we're good to go. Listen, meet me at gate B. I've got a VIP pass for you. We're going to walk you through the facilities. In fact, you're going to hang with us for the night. And here's what we're going to do. I'm like, oh, that's when you learn the power of ask. Anybody listening to the power of ask, just ask. The answer is no until you ask, right? So I meet up with Don Sullivan, the group from Jam Productions out in Chicago. They walk me back. I am back here with the tour buses. I see Bryan Adams, like, just chilling outside a bus. I'm like, that's Bryan. So they walk me all around. They walk me inside the facility before Def Leppard takes the stage. Joe Elliott, the lead singer, and the drummer, Rick Allen, comes out, and they're like, hi, this is Misty. You know, she's just supposed to ask you a few questions. And I'm just like, yeah. Trying to be starstruck, quickly fire out my questions, trip over my words.
Of course.
The guys answer him, and Don keeps elbowing me like, come on, stand up straight. Like, don't be weird. Don't make it weird. So I'm like, and then I think like, I'm just going on and on and on. So at the end, I look at Don and I said, and we're talking a day and age where cell phone cameras weren't a big thing.
Right.
But what I did have is a regular camera. And I looked at Don because he
a
told
camera. You had a normal
like
camera,
a ching ching camera, right? So I talked to Don and I'm like, is there any way I can get a picture with the guys? Because you told me no camera. He was like, let me ask. No pictures are supposed to be taken, but I'll ask. So he kind of rolls back to the guys. And I'm like, yeah, we get a photo. So I get a picture that day with Joe Elliott and Rick Allen, the drummer of Def Leppard. And I am like the happiest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Biggest. I mean, I'm meeting.
We're gonna have to see a picture of this, by the way.
I've got it.
The young Misty.
Young Misty. Oh my God.
That's so cool though.
Yeah. I was such a chubby faced girl, but I am like with Def Leppard and I'm getting my photo taken. It was my first musical interview and I got to be part of it. So then after that, like I'm just having the best day ever. Like this has just happened. Let me just tell you, the best day ever has happened over and over again since I've learned the power of ask. But I leave the interview. Don's like, come back to the tour bus with us. We're going to show you how we run numbers for all these shows. We're going to show you what Green Day is doing. We want to show you a little bit of what a talent buyer's world looks like. So they walk me back to these buses. They give me a Heineken. I'm chilling with all these music professionals. They're like showing me numbers for the concerts on the road. And I can hear Def Leppard playing in the background. And for once, I don't even care that I'm missing the show. Like I am so enthralled with what's going on behind.
You got the best part of the show, girl.
I got to meet the guys and now I'm hanging out with the people that actually produce all these shows and so many more. So I'm just like the best night ever. So in case anybody doesn't know, future podcast down the road, I actually spent a lot of years in the music business. And that night was actually the start to that. So we'll enter that another time because that's not
so awesome though.
But they were playing minor league ball fields. So there's the sports part.
Well, and I mean, it comes down to, like you said, just asking. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
They say no. Like,
right.
Why not?
If they say no, what are you out? Nothing. So I utilize the power of asking everything now. Like you can't hurt my feelings. I'm going to ask you anyway.
Well, I think people they don't want to offend. They don't want to, do this or that. And it's like, at the end of the day, what's the worst thing? If they don't want to do it, or if whatever, like they're just going to say no.
Right. Step on the toes. What do you got? Talk to me about one of your stories where you learned the power of the ask.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
I know you've got one. You've had an amazing life too so far. I know you've got one.
Oh gosh.
You're like, I wasn't prepared for this.
I was not prepared for this at all. I'm trying to think. I mean, there definitely has been times where I have just asked for things or just haven't been afraid to talk to people or whatnot. Oh man, no, I know I've got to have a good story.
Not in your career, like
we'll come back to that. I need to think about that. There's definitely some stories there.
We're going to give you some time to think about what that major ask was for you that turned your life around. Because for me, that concert and that tour promotion and getting involved with the music side of things was definitely my turnaround. That's what led me to so many chasing a lot of rabbit holes down life and like winning. So you think about what yours was, because I know you have one or so many more. You've accomplished so much, so I know you've got many.
Yeah, I think like we talk about, it's just being confident, doing what you feel in the moment that's best for you, and taking chances. I think for me, like just taking a chance and moving to a different city was a huge thing for me. Like I just never really thought I'd be in Cincinnati, honestly. And it kind of fell in my lap.
Do you know how many times
interviewing
that? I didn't
like the Midwest, but I'm from New York. So it's like, who from New York is going to move to the Midwest?
Not on purpose.
Right. But yeah, it just kind of fell in my lap. I got an internship in Cincinnati and then moved here and then was making new friends and joined cheerleading. And you know what? The crazy thing with that is I'm probably one of the only girls on the team that doesn't have a serious dance background.
No, you've told me that. Like they all came from like this background and you were like, no, I just I just kind of do it.
I like music. I love music. I love sports. I cheered. I will say I cheered for 2 seasons in high school basketball season. But after that, sports. Like I was straight sports.
Yeah.
Where majority of the girls on cheerleading teams in general, but definitely our team, they either cheered in high school or college or danced in college or have some big dance background. So, yeah, it's been fun.
All right. Well, your homework assignment, Rachael, is to come up and think about that big ask for you eventually in life. Thank you guys so much for being a part of another podcast. We are so happy to be here with you guys. Like, listen, we've noticed that our subscriptions have increased on YouTube and other platforms. If you guys could do us a huge favor, if you could like any of our videos or the particular podcast, even comments, that really helps us out a great deal. Again, we are on all podcast platforms, including Apple and Spotify. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, Sports and Ish, Misty B and Rachael Leigh. So just find us. Give us your thoughts. We're here for you. If there's a special guest you're looking forward to, let us know. We'll try and reach out to them. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.